Paul Molina. I am from the Gila Indian community, District 7, Maricopa Colony. Around 8 or 9, got into like comic books and stuff, and like X-Men and just anything like Marvel, just watching and like cartoons, things like that. And then in middle school, I just was drawing a lot on like the homework and on the drawing on like homework and just the classwork and stuff. From there, just kind of got exposed to graffiti through my older brother, David, and his friends, and they were just painting and stuff like that behind our house. We had like an old piece of wall there, and they would come by and paint and stuff. And I really didn't understand what it was until like later on, started seeing it like in movies, like in like Beach Street and Wild Style, and started seeing like just like graffiti movies and things like that, and just was like exposed to it like right away. But from there, as I was getting older, started getting exposed to more like art and kind of figuring out what it was. At the time, it was more like a kind of like an underground thing, kind of like secret thing, and you'd always just see it like on buses or just walls and stuff like that. But living on the reservation, wasn't really exposed to a lot of that influence. A lot of it was just more like through magazines and videos, VHS tapes, and things like that. And then also through the music, like breakdancing. But the art aspect of it, because I didn't know what it was interesting and it was appealing. It was like, I was getting drawn into it because I didn't know what it was. But when I started learning more about it, that you can use a marker or you can use a can to express yourself on a wall, I think that's kind of where, it was like a light bulb for me, like, wow, I can do this and everyone will see it. Or, it was just like instant gratification, for me to go paint on a wall or just tag on something real quick in the community. And I guess to say that was kind of like the turning point for me, was like, wow, this is, you can go out at night and paint and like go tag on stuff. And I think that was maybe like I guess now that I think about it, was like, I was destroying my community, messing it up, stuff like that. But at the same time, I was getting experience to go paint on walls. And I really didn't make a big name for myself. I was just kind of more like just a local kid, just kind of destroying signs, things like that. But at the same time, learning about markers and ink and, what types of paint are better, like Krylon or Rust-Oleum, like the old paints back in the day. And then markers, like these jumbo markers, things like that. And streakers, they're like oil-based markers, things that like stain and, it's hard to get off. So, that always intrigued me as well, just like the tools of the trade, just like, wow, what works, what doesn't work. The designs I create are, they're from Gila River and they're Peeposh, so a lot of what I create will translate into my art. And when that happens, it's just kind of like a fusion of like my two cultures that come together, the Acoma O'odham and the Peeposh, and then I'll fuse them together. And not a lot of people do that. You'll see artists that create baskets and pots and stuff like that, but more of a design, I guess, like graphic design wise. Like, I guess to go back a little, I do have a degree in a graphic design. I have an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree in visual communications. So then I do have that knowledge of, visually how to place stuff, and what's going to catch the eye in the beginning and how it comes down to the bottom. And then also I do have knowledge of like color theory. So, I'll use those concepts as far as like, what matches with, blue and green and purple and red, and how can I bring those into my artwork. And visually, a lot of the artwork I'll create are like, what I used to create are like landscapes. So then if you ever come to the reservation or go out into the desert somewhere, you can see there's a horizon line, there's mountains, and then there's usually like cactus or clouds or something in the sky. But then also, how are you gonna bring in the viewer visually, you know, into the piece? So then I'll create lines that will kind of come in, you know, like they'll come like vertically, like together, and you know that will represent like, you know, the focal point between the horizon line and the, I guess, the bottom piece of the art. So, you know, your eyes are like visually brought in, or they're, you know, opened up into the sky. So you start up here and then you kind of visually come down. So that's kind of how I create my artwork, like, you know, visually just thinking like, okay, how is this gonna catch someone's eye? Or how can I make this pop and make this image more exaggerated more, or, you know, make this less, you know? And then also just telling a story. And, you know, it could be about the landscape and the river, and, you know, where does the river go? And it's going to the fields, it's going to the animals, it's going to the plants and just the desert. So you can visually imagine something already, like, you know, the river comes in, there's fields, there's crops, there's animals, but it covers the whole landscape, and then there's the mountain, you know, in the background that represents a particular area or a particular season or whatever, you know. So there's a lot of things, man, that just kind of go into the artwork. But those are just the basics. It could be visual, color, and placement.
Thank you, everybody. You guys ready to get some goods from Cowtown? Make sure you sign in. If you haven't, please sign in and get in line. If you got an old board, make sure you show them your old board so they can give you a new board. If you need a board, let them know. They can hook you up, and vice versa. So
the company 7 Layer Army, it derived from like just local kids coming together and wanted to skate, and you know, we just, that's what we did. You know, we would just go and skate at night and just have fun, things like that. And eventually, when I was coming out of college in 2000, I think it was 2008, my associates, I had met Ruben Ringlero, and he's from District 6, Kamaki, and he was into skateboarding and he was going for film. And so I was going to school at Collins College, and that's where I met him. And I was getting my associates, and I think he was just starting his program too in film. And so I just met him. I don't remember exactly how I met him, but we were into skateboarding, so that's how we met.
My name is Ruben Ringlero, co-own 7 Layer Army Skateboards with my buddy Paul Molina. We've been doing this for quite some time now. My role is just putting on the events, planning and organizing them. Paul and I both kind of share the same responsibilities, so. But I mostly organize the events, and he usually does like all the artwork for the boards and the flyers and stuff.
And you know, we clicked up, we met after school, we skated, things like that, just got to know each other, and eventually kind of got really close to him and his family, and then like his uncle, Douglas Miles, Apache Skateboards, and just learning about that too, that, you know, he was related to him, you know, was interesting too. But for 7 Layer Army, when we first started, it was just kind of like just us two, and he was putting on like more of the competitions, and then I was more like the brand. 7 Layer Army started out as a school project, and when I first brought it to class, it was just like an idea that I had that was just for a concept for class as a project. And so it actually worked for one of my school projects, and the teacher liked it, and that I had different concepts of this skateboard company, skateboard graphics to a t-shirt to stickers and a website, and that was one of my projects for one of the classes, to create a brand and build it like that. And so then suddenly Army was born into an actual thing. And when I met Ruben, that was one thing that he was doing, like small skateboard competitions, and I knew the kids in Levine and the skaters there and stuff, and he did too. So we just came together, and we built the brand Suddenly Army. But for a while it was just me that had the brand, and then I brought him in as a co-owner for the company, and till this day I think it's been 13 years, about 13 years, and we've been doing it since then. And it's grown, kind of a small community-based skateboard company here on Gila River. And so we've been doing skateboard competitions, for about I want to say like 10 years. But the first 3 were just kind of more like local. We're just kind of figuring it out. But it's an LLC company, so it's low liability. So we're not liable for a lot of things that happen, that would happen in a city, things like that. So we're very fortunate to have our community, Gila River, to support us in that way, especially like skateboarding. Not only because it's an activity, healthy activity, but it also encourages the youth to like come together, to skate, to have fun, and hang around other kids that look just like them, and just in Native country or Native community, that's a big thing for kids growing up. So that's what we like to do. I mean, that's what we, our main thing is to live, love, and skate. But we're also an indigenous skateboard company, and we love what we do, and we hope to see eventually like a pro skater that will come out of here, out of Gila River. So that's kind of like our main goal, or our future dream is to hopefully see like a pro skater come out of Gila River and take over, represent. So yeah.
Skate to here's some wax. All right. Rolling.
art has affected me in a lot of ways, even in my life with my kids and stuff, even in my life at work. I mean, especially because I do, I guess to say, you know, what I love to do at work, but at the same time, people will see it as, you know, a gift, and, you know, they'd be like, hey, can you do this and this? And, you know, it's like, yeah, I can do it, you know, but it takes time to like sit down and like focus on it, that type of thing. Back in the day, you know, when I was like a little kid, like I'd always see like my mom like drawing on like a sketchbook or something, and I would always see like sketchbooks or like paper sitting around, and, you know, eventually kind of picked up a pencil, and that's kind of like how it started, because I was always like just watching her draw or just see like drawings and stuff that she did. And my dad was the same way, but he was kind of more like secret about it. You know, he could draw, and, you know, when we were little, like I just remember him like, you know, with a crayon or something, like drawing something like real fast or whatever, and, you know, just for whatever reason, you know, he would just do that. And, you know, as I got older and I saw him doing like silversmithing and that kind of thing, and it was like art was just kind of always around, but it was just kind of like more like just sitting around, but it was just like up to us to kind of go and pick it up, and if we wanted to do it, it was there. But nowadays, like, just the art that I create comes from I try to stay, I guess, pure, and I try to say like pure stuff, you know, from, you know, where it comes from, you know, it comes from the soul, you know, it comes from our hands, and, you know, it comes from, I guess, a higher being than who we are as humans. But I think that, you know, music does play a part in it too. You know, I'll listen to stuff that's like real bad or real good, you know, depending on the art that I'm working on. Sometimes like I'll just put on like just the TV or something and just have like just background noise, and it's just on, but I'm not listening to it. It's just on. I just need something on, like, to kind of like distract me from like what's really going on. A lot of the stuff that I do, it's kind of more just like intuition, or like I know how to put it together. It's just more like, okay, it's like if you're molding clay or something, you just kind of figure it out, you fill it out, you can see it, and then, you know, you can see it kind of forming, but you're in the process of like, it's all messy, it's all chaotic, you know, it doesn't make sense, and like, what are you doing? And, you know, you're in my mind, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good, but I'm like, just keep going, you know, just keep going, as I'm telling myself. And eventually, like, something will come out of it, like, okay, I see something here, you know, let me clean it up a little bit, or add this, or, you know, make this darker or thicker or whatever. And, you know, especially with like graffiti and that type of thing, you know, when you're out there and like on the side of a freeway or out there, you're gonna go paint a wall, like there really is no like second guessing. You're like, either you commit or you're not gonna commit, and you can get busted. And so that was kind of like the mentality that I have, is like, commit to it, you know, do it, you'll figure it out, and just keep going, you know, and then something will come out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's really a gift, and it's just like, you know, just thanking like the Lord and, you know, God, the creator of the universe, and, you know, that I have this gift to share with others and things like that. And sometimes I'll look at old pieces, I'm like, dang, did I really do that? It's just kind of like, you know, surprising, because I don't remember that piece, or something had happened at that time, and I just kind of was like, okay, I'm done with it. I don't want to worry about it. I just want to get over and just like put it away for now. Like I'll look at it later, and then I'm on to the next project, or I'm on to the next thing. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just like, I don't let it get to my head too, and that's the thing too. Like, other artists will like create a piece and they're like, oh yeah, this is it. You know, I'm gonna make it big time. But, you know, sometimes that's not the one, and sometimes there is. You know, you hit the jackpot like I did. You know, we just did a mural that was like $100,000, and we were like, okay, now we got to do the work, and then after we're done, we can enjoy it. But in actuality, we were just like on the grind, like every day. We're like, we got to get this painting done. And then at the end, we were like, this is cool. Like, all right, what do we do next? You know, we're just all like tired, and, you know, we were like ready to spend the money, but it was just like we just wanted to lay down. Just like, we didn't want to worry about it anymore. We were just sick and tired of each other. But I mean, you'll see it like in the In Circles movie, the film, like the film In Circles. Like, there's pieces in that movie that are actual pieces of us. Like, we have our paint set up, and then, you know, there's us like working, and then at the end they have it like on the wall and everything. But stuff like that, man, it's like, it's eye-opening too. It's like, it's gratifying. It's like, you know, there's just those achievements. It's just those goals you just keep hitting and just keep going. But yeah, I forgot what the question was, but yeah. Yeah! There you go. Shoot. Little. Just a little. Oh, I don't know, man. Try again one time. That was tight. What we do in our profession, you know, we're designers, we're filmers, photographers, graphic designers, you know, painters, writers, and whatnot in between. And you know, we're very fortunate in this community to have you know, resources, especially like education to pursue, and not only that, that there's a lot of opportunities within the community to do what we love. But that's what I like about this community. You know, I'm sure it's different in other Native communities, you know, to do things that I do and to say the things that I said, you know, like I can have a job and, you know, still do the art on the side. So I think we're pretty fortunate and pretty blessed to, you know, live in this community in this day and age, and you know, have the resources, you know, and the big resources that we have, you know, within our community to do what we do and love. But yeah.